Hello and welcome, my dear friend. Did you ever notice that no matter how faithful you stayed, how clean your heart was, how loyal and trustworthy you were before God, your life still didn't move the way it should have? Chosen ones, that wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't bad luck. It wasn't you doing something wrong. Someone, knowingly or unknowingly, has been in the way, and God is exposing it now. Because when a person's blessing gets delayed that long, despite obedience, despite purity, despite endurance, it's almost never random. There's always a hand in it, a voice in it, a presence in it, and heaven has finally decided to remove that presence from the equation. But before we get to that, let's talk about something you rarely admit. Your attention didn't stay on God and yourself all the time. Because for years, it was forced by society to survive other people's reactions. Every time you made progress, someone had something to say. Every time you shined a little brighter, someone dimmed the room. Every time you rose above what tried to break you, someone whispered, judged, compared, or questioned your right to grow. You weren't distracted because you lacked focus. You were distracted because people kept pulling your focus away. And here's the truth you've never said aloud. You've spent more energy managing people's opinions than receiving God's blessings. Not by choice, by necessity. Because some people around you didn't just misunderstand you. They mishandled you. They monitored your progress while secretly being threatened by it. And some didn't want to see you rise at all. But listen closely. Heaven saw every one of them. The intentional ones, the unintentional ones. The ones who smiled while slowing you down, the ones who loved you but couldn't handle your calling, and the ones who prayed for you publicly and competed with you privately. Chosen ones, God is exposing them, not to embarrass anyone, but because your path has been blocked long enough. You felt it, didn't you? That strange, stuck season, that I'm doing everything right but nothing is moving feeling. You blamed yourself. You questioned your decisions. You wondered if you were missing something, but the blockage wasn't coming from within you. It was coming from who was standing around you. Someone you trusted, someone you tolerated, someone you kept giving the benefit of the doubt, was spiritually, emotionally, or energetically limiting what God could release in your life. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes out of jealousy, sometimes out of their own brokenness. Sometimes they didn't want you to outgrow them. Sometimes they were terrified of losing access to you, or they simply couldn't see you win without feeling small. And sometimes they were praying for you while sabotaging you with their words when envy slipped out. You felt all of it, every time a blessing got close, and then something suddenly fell apart. Every time an opportunity was right in front of you, and then the door somehow closed. Every time you were finally ready to rise, and something or someone threw confusion into the atmosphere. You weren't imagining it. You weren't being dramatic. Your spirit was picking up on the truth before your mind could make sense of it. Because the chosen ones don't need evidence. They feel it. They sense the shift. They know when something or someone is affecting the flow of their life. And here is the truth you need to know. The blockage is being exposed because your season can't start with them attached. You know, your blessing is too heavy for the wrong hearts. Your elevation is too sacred for casual connections. Your next chapter is too expensive for cheap loyalty. So God didn't just expose who's been blocking you, He made the blockage uncomfortable for you to stay in. That's why life's been getting harder lately. Why you feel less connected to circles you used to tolerate. Why your spirit gets irritated by things you once brushed off. Why certain names, certain vibes, certain energies feel off. That's not attitude or moodiness. That's God pulling back the curtain. He is exposing the ones who doubted you quietly, the ones who spoke against you subtly, the ones who competed with you secretly, and the ones who underestimated you continually. Not to shame them, but to free you. They're not evil for reacting this way. They're just not as grounded or as protected as you are. Chosen ones, your life didn't move because there was interference. But that interference is breaking now. And once you slow down enough to recognize what's been draining you and step out of it, You're going to feel free in ways you've never felt before, because blessings are already here, but you have to make room for them by noticing what blocked them all along. And for the first time in a long time, your blessing is about to reach you without passing through someone else's insecurity. But here's something most people never realize about a spiritual blockage. It's not always caused by someone who openly dislikes you. Sometimes it's caused by someone who loves you but can't handle your calling. And that's the part God is exposing now. Because the biggest interference doesn't always come from enemies. It comes from people who grew comfortable with the version of you that no longer exists. They didn't mean to hold you back. They just never imagined you'd grow this far. Some people only supported you as long as you stayed relatable, as long as you stayed manageable, as long as your blessing didn't outshine their comfort zone. But the moment God began elevating you quietly, the moment your spirit rose faster than your environment, you outgrew the roles they kept placing you in. And your blessing started hitting walls because you were surrounded by people who still saw you as the before version of yourself. God couldn't release the after while you were still surrounded by the before. That's why the exposure had to happen, not to punish them, but to free you. Because the truth is this: you cannot carry a destiny forward while dragging relationships that belong to your past. And God knew you wouldn't leave them on your own. He knew you'd keep giving them chances, keep hoping they'd grow with you, keep believing their heart would match your intentions. So He allowed the tension to increase, not to hurt you, but to reveal what you couldn't see in peace. My dear friend, listen to me carefully. There is nothing wrong with you for feeling disconnected. That's what elevation feels like before it's visible. And here's the most important part. Your blessing wasn't delayed because you were unprepared. It was delayed because God refused to let the wrong people benefit from your next chapter. Because each person should have gone through their own path, and they can't hang on to you forever. God didn't want your miracle landing where jealousy would distort it. He didn't want your breakthrough celebrated by mouths that secretly doubted it. He didn't want your next level witnessed by hearts that weren't pure toward you. So instead of releasing the blessing early, God protected it. He waited, watched, tested every connection around you, and then He began exposing, gently at first, then louder, then unmistakably, until you could no longer pretend everything was fine. That irritation, that heaviness, that shift in how people responded to you, it wasn't random. It was God saying, "Look again, they can't go where you are going." Because part of your spiritual maturity is learning how to move forward without guilt. Some people were lessons, some were assignments, some were temporary bridge builders, some were reminders of who you never want to be again, but they were not meant to accompany you into the future you've been praying for. And once you understand that, the pressure lifts, the confusion quiets, the path clears. Because here's the truth, your spirit already knows. You're stepping into a season where only aligned hearts can stay. Not perfect people, but aligned ones. People who don't compete with you. People who are their real self around you. People whose soul doesn't get threatened when God hands you something beautiful. Your blessing needs that environment. Your assignment requires that support. Your calling needs that safety. So don't take this exposure as heartbreak. Take it as God rearranging the room for your arrival. Chosen one, please listen. Your blessing was never denied. It was delayed until the wrong eyes were removed. And now that God has exposed what was blocking you, now that the hidden resistance has been revealed, your spirit is going to feel something it hasn't felt in a long time. Momentum. Real momentum. The kind you don't have to force. The kind that doesn't require fighting. The kind that comes from God clearing the path by hand because the interference is gone. And when the interference is gone, the blessing flows. Doors open without resistance. Help arrives without asking. Opportunities appear without explanation. People treat you differently without you changing a thing, not because of luck, but because nothing is blocking the blessing anymore. My dear friend, the shift is already underway. You're going to feel it. You're going to see it. You're going to walk into something that was yours from the beginning, finally unfiltered, finally unobstructed, finally unblocked. And when it reaches you, you'll realize it was never delayed. It was protected. Your blessing is coming straight to you now. And this time, no insecurity, no comparison, no hidden jealousy, and no silent interference will stand in its way. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated, please like, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to stay connected. Continue your awakening journey by choosing one of the videos on your screen that resonates with you the most. See you there.